He was hiding in the bushes, his body trembling, his eyes filled with fear. I could tell he didn't want to be seen. Someone had told me what happened to him. But seeing it with my own eyes made me sick. How could anyone do this to a helpless dog? At first, he wouldn't come near me, but after a few minutes of quiet patience, he took a hesitant step forward. Then another, and before I knew it, he let me touch him. Even though he accepted my touch, I could feel it. His trust was fragile. His heart was still broken. And then, just as quickly as he'd come out, he turned and ran back into the bushes. But I wasn't going to leave him there. He needed help. When I finally got him to safety, I placed him in warm water, hoping to ease his fear. He flinched at first, unsure if this was another trick, another cruel game at his expense. But as the warmth wrapped around him, I could feel his body slowly relax. Yet, the pain in his eyes almost made me cry. This wasn't just a dog in need. This was a soul that had been broken, betrayed by the very people he had once trusted. And now, it was up to us to show him that not all humans are the same. As my wife reached for his muzzle, my stomach turned. The tape. It wasn't just wrapped around him. It was dug into his skin, like a vice that had been left for far too long. The swelling was bad, so bad that it looked like it had fused with his fur. This wasn't just neglect. This was torture. At first, he resisted. His body tensed, his breath quickened, and for a moment, I thought he might snap. Not out of aggression, but out of pure, desperate fear. Who could blame him? Every tug must have felt like a fresh wound reopening. Every touch reminded him of the suffering. But then, something shifted. His eyes met mine, and for a second, I saw something beyond the pain. It was trust, fragile, hesitant, but real. And slowly, inch by inch, he let her remove it. The tape peeled away, pulling tiny strands of fur with it. Underneath, his skin was raw, irritated, and swollen. It must have hurt. It had to hurt. I kept wondering, how long had he suffered like this? Days? Weeks? Had he cried for help, only to be ignored? Had he accepted that this was his fate? And then, the moment we had been waiting for. The last strip of tape fell into the water, and for the first time in who knows how long, his muzzle was free. He let out the smallest sigh, barely a sound, but enough to tell me that he knew. He knew. It was over. He was finally free. But just as I thought this moment couldn't get any more heartbreaking, something unexpected happened. He started drinking. Not just small sips, desperate gulps. At first, I didn't realize what was happening. But then, it hit me. This wasn't just a dog drinking bathwater. This was survival. He was that thirsty, that desperate, that starved. I didn't stop him. I couldn't stop him. I just let him drink, for as long as he needed, as much as he wanted. Because for who knows how long, he had been forced to survive on nothing. His stomach must have ached. His throat must have burned. And yet, despite it all, he was still here. He was still fighting. As I watched him drink, I felt something shift inside me. This wasn't just about rescue. It was about redemption. This dog had been abandoned, starved, and left to suffer. But not anymore. Now, he had a home. Now, he had love. And I made a silent promise. This was just the beginning. No more pain, no more fear, only healing, only hope, only the life he deserved. It was time to treat his wounds. He wasn't happy about it. And honestly, I couldn't blame him. The moment the antiseptic touched his skin, he flinched. His body tensed, his breathing quickened. That sting, sharp and immediate, must have reminded him of every painful moment he had endured. But this time, the pain wasn't meant to hurt him. It was meant to heal. My wife gently stroked his head, her touch soft and reassuring. "You're safe now, buddy. We're here to help you." Her voice was barely above a whisper, but I could tell he was listening. His ears twitched ever so slightly, his gaze flickering between fear and something else, something new. Trust. It was fragile, hesitant, but it was there. He was scared, but he was also strong, stronger than I could ever imagine. I watched as he fought against his instincts, the instinct to run, to hide, to expect more pain. But he stayed, because deep down, he was starting to understand. We weren't like the people who had done this to him. We weren't here to hurt him. We were here to help. And in that moment, I knew. This wasn't just about treating his wounds. This was about rebuilding something he had lost. Hope, trust, a belief that maybe, just maybe, life could be good again. Saving this puppy was one of the most rewarding things we've ever done. And there are so many more animals out there who need a second chance. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to help more animals like him, consider donating. Every little bit makes a difference. Link in the description. Would you have rescued him too? Let us know in the comments.